Hello everyone, in this video it's part 2 of the Lucchinni Gambit as we play it from black. So e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, the king's knight variation, and bishop to c4, so attacking this vulnerable f7 square. This is the Italian game, and we play bishop to c5 and d3, which defends the bishop on the c4 square. From here we have f5 opening up the centre, and this is the Lucchinni Gambit. So from here, knight to g5, creating a double attack on the square, threatening the fork on the rook and queen. And we have f4, so it prevents the connection from the bishop to this knight here. So if white tries to be greedy and goes for the fork, then we're simply going to play queen to h4. So it's threatening a checkmate. So simply white knows not to take. As you learned from the last video, the knight took, which caused the checkmate. So if the knight avoids this tempting rook and castles, for an example, to get the king side very secure, then we're simply going to develop the knight. And in this position, white is obviously going to think that, why shouldn't you capture? So if the capture actually occurs with knight to h8, we're going to play knight to g4. And as you can see in this position, this square is under threat alongside this knight and this queen. And also, we can push forwards with the pawn to break open this position here with this, I'll refresh it, with this pawn on g2, so this can be broken open too. And also the knight is threatening this g2 square alongside the queen. So there's a lot of threats of checkmate here if you don't play the right move. So if white pushes forwards with h3, which is the best move in the position, then simply we're going to sacrifice the knight onto f2. And simply here, for an example, if the rook took, then what's going to happen is the queen is going to capture on f2. And as you can see, the king only has two squares to travel to, which are h1 and h2. So if the king moves to h1 first, then we're simply going to break open the position with this pawn, as eventually this pawn is going to be captured. The queen will come over here with this bishop as it defends the queen, threaten checkmate. So if the queen captures first on f3, then it's simply a checkmate, as there's nothing defending this first rank, as you can see, as the queen was here. So in this position, the queen is defending any threats of the checkmate. So since the queen leaves, we're simply going to give checkmate, as the king has nowhere to go, and this queen cannot be eliminated, as the bishop's defending the queen. So going back in the position, if we go to the pawn captures, then we're simply going to develop with d5. And the point is, in this position, the development with d5 causes a fork of this pawn and this bishop. So in fact, if white tries to be greedy and creates an attack onto this knight here, then we're simply going to get our bishop into the action with bishop to h3. So from here, there are so many threats of checkmate. There's already a threat on this g2 square, but there's only one move to prevent this, which is moving the queen to f1 in this position. That's the only thing you can do. You might be thinking that you're sacrificing the queen, but it's actually the only thing you can do. Otherwise, it's just a mate in one. It's a mate in one. After white plays any other move, it's going to be a checkmate. So in this position, the only move to prevent the checkmate in one is queen to f1. And the point is, you can capture with the bishop on f1, as you can see. Capture with the bishop, and in this position you'd simply play, and any other move from white in this position, nothing will work. So if you take a random move such as a3, for example, recommended by the engine, then you're simply going to play queen to g1, and this is the checkmate, as the king has been smothered in. As the queen's giving check, none of these squares can be escaped to. And furthermore, if we go back in this position, if we capture with the queen instead, then as the king moves to its only square, which is h2, we can put the queen onto, we can put the queen onto the g2 square, and it's simply a checkmate, as we couldn't move to this square here, as the king would simply capture the bishop. So we need this bishop here. So there's a nice link between the bishop and the queen. So there's no captures here. The king can't escape to any of these squares due to the queen. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video on the Lucchinni Gambit of part 2. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.